And there's the lovely computer voice letting us know we are being recorded. All right, so everybody, welcome to From Here to There with our guest, Sanghyun Lee. And Sanghyun, this is a conversation that is all about your journey. How did you get to Stamps? What was it like for you? What happened next? So if you wouldn't mind, tell us, how did you end up going to the Stamps School?
And okay, yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you for inviting me over to this really great event. So STEMs. I mean, what I have to say is that when I applied to STEMs, I honestly didn't know what I want to do at the time. So basically, I was looking for options, looking for if this is like a good fit. And then the reason why I chose STEMs over other schools or universities because it's not just the STEMs that I have to say. That is great that you guys have a great program to explore around a lot of different options. But it's also other departments are really great as well as well, like Holy in Michigan, there's right beside your school, there's architecture, and also there's engineering. So if I mean, I want to trying to like explore like my options, and basically STEMS was a really good match for me to do those kind of stuff. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so if I'm remembering correctly, you did spend 4 years at Stamps,
Mhm.
but I think there was an interruption. Am I
Right,
remembering that right?
right. Yeah.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I mean, what I have to say is that I was an international student at the time, basically from Korea. And as a male Korean person, you have to solve a military service, mandatory military service at the time. So I finished up my sophomore review and then served my military for 2 years and came back basically. And then, yeah, ended up graduating in 2016, I think. Yeah.
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 So you actually started around 2010, right?
Yeah. 2010. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy,
And
wow.
yeah, yeah. So for people who didn't realize this is a thing with Korean young men, this is mandatory service, and it is not unusual
Yeah.
for these students to have to take time away, which
Mhm.
extends the overall time that they're completing an undergraduate degree. Uh,
Mm.
so what did that interruption teach you? Did you come
It-
back maybe as a slightly different kind of person?
I have to say yes, because if you serve like military serve for 2 years, you change. Yeah, I mean, you're in that really confined, environment. So, but one thing I did was, many people can think that this is a waste of time to be off for 2 years and they come back. But for me, it was actually opportunity for me to really improve and think back, like if this is like a right direction. If it's a direction that I want to go to. And even during when I was serving at the time, um, I actually did more of a research and did my own study to really improve myself. So I don't lose of like whatever the education I got from like for the 2 years before. So I have to say at the back time, when I was serving the religious service, I mean, for sure, yes, I can say it was a waste of my time. But right now, if I think back, I have to say that that's something I needed, like the pause I needed to really understand who I am, what I want to do. And then in that way, I think I became more mature and I was able to make like right decisions, I have to say. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I have to say yes or no for if it was a good time for me, you know. But yeah, I have to say it was worth it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you came back and you had
Mhm.
this sort of more newfound clarity,
Mhm.
um, what was the path that you were on? What
Mhm.
kind of decision did you make about moving forward?
Yeah. So for STEMs, you have a choice to become either, I have to say, artist or designer. I think those are two different things.
Mhm.
And I made a decision and thought that designer is something I want to be, because as an artist, I don't think I was able to express myself. And what I understand from my own research is that I'm like a logical person that needs like data and some kind of user research is done. And my focus was basically I want to understand users more, and then I try to go in that path. And that's why, like I said, the reason why I chose Michigan is because there are a lot of resources out there, out of just not just in STEMs. So basically, what I did was I want to get really good experience from other departments as well. So what I did was basically apply for MDP. I don't know if you have the engineering department has that right now, but it was called multidisciplinary program at the time. And this was like a really good opportunity where you can collaborate with engineers. And I was able to experience that and then have the more of a real world opportunity to really focus on like clients projects too. So in that way, I knew what I had to do. And that's why I applied for multiple different opportunities, like I said, MDP. And yeah, and in that way, I was able to know like which direction I wanted to take. And like I said, I wanted to be a designer. As a designer, I thought I had to understand how to do some research, understand users, and also collaborate with engineers. So that's what I tried to do when I came back. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so for any students who are not aware of MDP, the Multidisciplinary Design Program, it's open to all students at the University of Michigan, even though it is housed in engineering, but all students can participate. And it's not just engineers and designers, but quite often there will be people from Ross or from LSA who
Right,
also
right.
form these
Mhm.
collaborative teams. And as Sanghyun was saying, it really does mimic what you will experience in the real world, that you have to collaborate
Mhm.
with people from lots of different disciplines who may or may
Right.
not know anything about design. So
Mhm.
thank you for telling us about that.
Mhm.
Um, were internships on your mind while you were a student?
Yeah. I mean, I have to say yes, but still, I mean, I took internship for sure. I actually interned at IBM at the time, but as more of a UX researcher, because at the time, what I wanted to do was to really how to conduct research to better understand users' needs. And then I thought that was my fit. And through that internship, of course, an opportunity that I realized that that's not the path I want to take. That's why I came back and to be more focused on the design part. Then
Ah,
yeah, about that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Tell us more about that trajectory. So you had the internship with
Mhm,
IBM,
mhm.
and then where did you go from there?
So, okay, I can talk about the journey. So basically, this all started from my during my senior year. So basically, during the senior project, I realized, like I said, I want to better understand user research, and then that's why I applied for internship, because I wasn't sure if this is like actually the right path I want to take. And in that way, I applied, and thankfully, I got the yes from there. So I got that opportunity, and then after finishing up the internship, like I said, I realized this is not the path I want to go. I wanted a designer. So basically I applied for UX design job afterwards. And then I got the UX design job. And then, yeah, that's the time when I really started my UX journey, UX design journey, I have to say. Yeah. Mhm.
So that was your first job out of college?
Internship? Yes, that was now. Yeah.
And then what was the next one after that?
So it was actually back in Korea. I had to go back to Korea at the time. So I worked at a company called Team XOS. It's like a mid-sized company which does a lot of midware. I'm getting too technical here, but yeah, a lot of tech stuff they're
Mm.
doing. And then And yeah, there I was able to really understand what UX has to do as a designer. And then from there, I can talk about more, but yeah, I'll just
But
stop there.
how did you get that job in Korea?
How did I? What do you mean by how? Like, or do you want like a typical answer? Like I made my portfolio, I made my resume, or like, is there a certain answer? Yeah.
No, there's no right answer to a
Okay.
question. Go ahead.
I mean, of course, I explored a lot of job opportunities, and then I tried to see what fits my needs as well. And I was also looking for a place where I can grow. For like just out of your college or like internship, what you have to understand is that you should look for a place where you want to grow in the area. It's not that you want to get like earn money. It's not. I don't think that should be the focus. It should be where you really want to improve yourself and grow yourself in that industry. And then what I can tell you is that since I came from IBM environment, it's like I was looking for more techie stuff. And also what the interest I got was the data and information. And because that's what I experienced from IBM. And I saw the power and I saw how much this could be. I mean, first of all, it was a very interesting topic to be in the data or information industry. And it intrigued me in a way that if you have enough data, enough information, it helps me to understand users really well. So it's a lot of big data stuff I'm talking about. And in that way, I just want to go in that path where a company that utilize data a lot, information a lot. And I just want to understand what that means more in depth, and also want to grow as more of a data focused UX designer at the time. So
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
How long did you stay in that job?
I mean, I was only there for like a year because what I have to say, since I'm growing in US and Canada for a long time, there was a cultural difference, even though I'm Korean. Yeah, many Koreans will understand what that means. There was a lot of cultural difference and hierarchy within the company, so I couldn't really grow myself. There was like restrictions going on within that hierarchy, so I applied for master's degree within Michigan University of Michigan for School of Information, because like I said, I was always into data. I want to understand more about data science stuff. And then of course, I want to take the opportunity to really grow as more of a UX designer more. So even though I applied for School of Information, my focus was on UX design. But like I said, I want to be more of a data focused UX designer. So that's why, yeah, I decided to apply for a master's degree where I can grow and understand what that means really in the back end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of students will ask me
Mhm.
about the dual degree as an undergrad
Mhm.
with School of Information and
Mhm.
the School of Art and Design.
Mhm.
And then other students will take the path that you did, which was to
Mhm.
finish the
Mhm.
degree at the Stamps School and then go on to
Right.
grad school.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts, the pros and cons of dual degree as an undergrad versus getting a master's?
I have to say, there's no right answer. Everyone's background, everyone's journey is a lot different. For me, what I have to say is that what is your passion? What do you want to be? And how do you want to go? I think that's the question you should answer yourself. That if do you think the education can really help you grow, then I think you should take that opportunity to take the dual degree. But I have to say, experience is more valuable. Education is education. Um, Experience is something you can really learn from elsewhere, and no one teaches that, and no one can teach you that, because everyone's journey, what you learn from industry is different. So what I can say is that if I had an opportunity to have like dual degree, I would say I won't do that. I would rather take those programs like NDP or other real world projects you can do. I don't know. I think there's another opportunity you can take within School of Information as well. I forgot what it's called, but it's really focused on UX design as well. So try to explore those options first and see if that's the thing you want to do. Then yes, you might want to educate yourself. And I have to say, the dual degree is not the only option you can have. I think experience will be more valuable, from my opinion. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to say. Yeah, I mean, there's no right answer. I have to say, yeah.
I love this conversation because I'm with you. Obviously, there's no right answer,
Mhm,
but I'm wondering because we hear the term UX design, user experience design,
mhm,
and a lot of people may not really have a handle on what
mhm.
does that really mean. So I'm going to put you on the spot and give us your definition of
Okay.
user experience design.
Um, so I think it's a broad term and there's like a lot of history behind this. So basically it comes from the tech industry, basically. Within tech industry, basically before the UX term came out, everything was on engineering side, how to develop this, how to program this. But what the tech company realized that, oh, what we need to under users first, because they started to get that concept where I think users should come first, which means that we should think about user-centric way of to develop like an application or software. So that's how UX the terminology came in, and of course there are other stuff behind it. But the thing is that what you have to understand is that what we're trying to do is trying to understand what users want, their intent, and what problems are they trying to solve, and how we can do that for them. So basically, what we're trying to understand their needs, problem, challenges, or whatever, all this stuff to solve those issues and challenges for them. And that's our job, basically. And as a UX designer, you cannot work alone. Like I said, collaboration is really the key. If you want to be a good designer, you have to understand research, you have to understand engineering, the coding or programming, whatever, a lot of stuff that can impact the user's need and challenges, basically. So I mean, there are a lot of stuff I can talk about, but the thing is that what you have to think is that you have to be vulnerable enough to suck in whatever users is saying, and then trying to yeah, solve the problem, in a professional way, and also based on whatever domain you're in, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
you had the opportunity to be at two different schools at
Mhm,
the university.
mhm,
How much did you take advantage of
mhm,
the career resources at both of these schools?
mhm. Yeah. So in terms of STEMs, what I can say is that I learned how to expand my ideas was something I have to say was the key point when I studied there. So, as a first year, you have to be in multiple different studios, and that you don't want to be, I have to say, to be honest with you. I mean, at the time, I was feeling the same way. I wasn't interested in metal or interested in fabric. I had to be in that studio to, get the education. But if I think back, if I didn't have that opportunity to experience many different materials or like other content like that, I don't think I was able to expand my ideas like in many different directions, even as a designer. So I think that really helped me to expand ideas, really think about whys and whys to make a like an artwork, and I think that really helped me out on that part. And as a school information, like that was that I mean the school really helped me to in school information really helped me to realize what to focus on in tech industry, which was AI. So when I learned about machine learning and data science and everything, I realized that, okay, artificial intelligence is something I want to focus on,
Mhm.
and it's something um, I want to improve on as well. So I really, yeah, it was a really good opportunity for me to understand who I am and what I want to do for my career, I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So a little tangent here.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on AI generated art?
I would have to say is that AI is based on data, right? Which means that data is being collected by whatever human has produced. So basically, whatever data has produced is machine kind of captures the pattern And then basically you're looking at the artwork that is like a pattern for multiple different humans artwork. So it's not necessarily it's like something new. It is something like a overlapped artwork that many people have already been made before.
Yeah.
So that's I mean a lot different. It might look amazing because you're just using a lot of different sources and data coming from all around the world. As you're making artwork, what you have to do is do some research, right? And you have limited time. Whereas AI has the capabilities to do that research really fast and gather a lot of information really fast, which means that they're gonna have more information to produce like great artwork based on whatever is out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Thank you for that. So as you look back, uh, like all humans, a career question.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
When I was in Stamps as a student,
I
or
kind of, I think more, we'll start with Stamps, but then I think everybody can look back on their experience and say, boy, I didn't take advantage of this, or I wish I had done that.
Yeah. So if I would go back to my freshman year, I think I would explore more options. Like I said, trying to see what kind of resources we have. Even I'm not just talking about like MDP those programs. I'm also talking about like professors and like students even in other departments. In that way, I think I was able to understand who I am more in depth, and then could explore more options if I had that opportunity, or even did that took those actions at the time. And I could think, yeah, I think I got mature a bit late, or yeah, to be honest with you, because I was young, and I mean everyone's pretty much young when you first in college, right? So I mean I don't regret that, but still, if I had same knowledge like how I think right now, I think I would do it differently and explore stuff. Like options really different and start early in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever had one of those sort of full circle moments where like 5 years later you go, oh, that's what they were talking about?
So for moments. Um. Hmm. I mean, there are a lot. I have to say, I don't know which one to focus on and what can benefit these students. That's why I'm thinking.
Pick one that means something to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just live. I think I just limited myself, and I don't know. I think Bruce is still there. Bruce Thurp. I think he's
Yes,
still
yeah.
there. Yeah. What he told me was that trying to ideate as much as possible, trying to get like 100 different ideas in a certain time, and I really didn't think what that meant at the time. It was just simple sketching stuff that I had to, to do my homework at the time. But it was just I have to say that process, that ideation process, was something I needed, and it's something I had to do well in order to succeed in the industry. Because in the industry, you have to really explore a lot of options and a lot of solutions. Um, I mean, I'm a senior product designer. I'm the lead for the current design team, and if I uh, had explored that idea more, and then have done well at the time, I think I've been better designer at this time, where I can really suggest different options to my junior designers. I have to say, okay, these are the options that I have explored. Take a look at this, and you should do the same. Those kind of stuff. No, no. If I had that name, if I had that took that yeah, idea, and then what Bruce told me at the time could really benefit a lot, if I have to think back, because that is a process, really such a process that user or like UX designer have to do. I have to say, and it should benefit. And there are also a lot of different things I can talk about, but I think that was the key thing I always think back, and I have to say that I kind of missed
Mm.
studying there. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It sounds nothing, but it is something that you need to really think of. Yeah, what that really means. The process.
yeah,
Process is the key. Yeah, it's not really the result. It's the process.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Very good. I love that answer.
Mhm.
Um, so uh, let's move up in time
Mhm.
to when you graduate with a degree from SI. What was your first job after you graduated?
So after graduate, so one thing I want to say is that during that year, I actually also had an opportunity to have like an internship with the Google, and it was an IEA team, basically daydream team, and then I worked on the Google Lens product at the time, which utilized AI, and then that was sure this is the area I want to go in, and then that's why I explored around what are the AI based tech industry out there. And then also what I learned from Google is that even though even if you don't work in a big company, still there are a lot of opportunities out there. So I didn't just look for to go back, but trying to also look for a way I can grow, and also in that AI tech area. So what I did was basically apply for multiple jobs, but unfortunately it might happen to you guys too, but I don't want to jinx that. But I mean, it was during pandemic when I graduated. That's when pandemic happened, like started. So it was basically it was a hiring freeze happening at the time. So at the time I also had to go back to Korea, and also explore opportunity there to which has like AI based company, and then it's called Twig Farm. So basically they utilize NLP capability, which is natural language processing. It's basically, you can think of it as like a translation thing they do. And then in there it was a startup company, but still I really like the job because I was able to get the hands-on opportunity, hands-on experience, and then that's what I needed. I wasn't really looking for money. I wasn't looking for like a big names. I was looking for a place to grow. Yeah, and it was a perfect fit for me at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How long did you stay with them?
I have to say I'm still working with them. It's really funny, but I'm working. So right now, just to be clear, I work for a company called Inspirata, which is an AI cancer AI based company. So what we do is that we make oncology solutions for patients and oncologists, and it is also AI based company. And then what I'm doing is that I also have like a side job as a data analyst, and which I work with at that Korean company currently. So before I worked as a product or UX designer with that startup company, but I changed my role as a data analyst because I still want to also grow as data science, but didn't want to lose the opportunity. And they offered me to, if do you want to be like a part-time data analyst? And so I work as a part-time data analyst there, and then also full-time product designer for this Inspire company. Yeah, it's very weird, I know, but
No. You sound like a lot of creatives I know.
mm,
Um, and you're geographically in Texas.
yeah, yeah.
And is Inspirata based in Texas?
No, it's based in Tampa.
And
Mhm.
so you're working
Okay.
remotely.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and did you have to s- did and I don't know how to phrase this because you were in Korea
Mhm.
and then you wanted to relocate to the States.
Mhm.
Did Inspirata sponsor you for a visa?
So, so this is not a really good example, I have to say. But so I got married to a beautiful woman. At the time, she was actually applying for a green card, and then I basically got the spouse green card visa.
Oh,
Now that's why I'm able to work with Inspirata. but
Yeah.
mm, yeah,
What,
I'm not a good example, for
but no, but
school.
what does the future of that look like for you?
Mm,
So you can work because you have residency status with a green
yeah, I do.
card. And
Mm.
then do you plan to apply for citizenship, or what are your plans?
Mm, so no, I mean, wife and I talked about that, yeah, about that if you want to be citizen of US, and we're still thinking we still have time to consider that, but is it highly likely we want to go back to Korea
Mm.
is because we have family there. Yeah,
Oh,
both of us are international students, were international students at the time. So yeah, since we have family back there, we probably would want to go back there to really support our family and be there with our family. So yeah,
oh,
I'm still deciding, because if you get a child here, things can happen differently. But
yeah. And does your wife have dual citizenship?
uh, no, 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 no. Yeah, she is Korean. Yeah, she's a Korean, and she is a Korean passport too. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So if she is not an American citizen,
Mhm.
how do you have the spousal green card?
So when she applied for a green card, she has option to add spouse in that application. So I was able to, yeah, hop in, kind of get that.
No,
Yeah.
no. This is a
Got it.
story I have not heard before.
Oh, really? Okay.
Two international students who, didn't have to do the H-1B.
Mhm.
This is new to me. So thank you for
Yeah, it's
introducing
very
me.
different. Yeah, I'm a very lucky one. I have to say, I'm a very lucky one. I didn't have to go through all the process. I mean, I just watched her struggling and getting all this, like resumes and like papers and stuff. It looked painful, and I was there, and I had to fill out some information as well. So, but I have to say, I'm very lucky with
Yeah.
that visa status. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And what about your international colleagues, either from Stamps or
Mm.
from SI? How have
Oh,
they
both,
been?
both. I mean, some basically. So it was unfortunate for SI, I have to say, because like I said, it was during pandemic
Yeah.
that happened, that started the outbreak. So many students had to go back, even though they were really talented.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, it was very unfortunate to see that. But some were able to extend their visa. They got the job opportunity, so able to yeah, go beyond there. And I think a few of my colleagues are actually applying for green card now. So because
yeah.
there's, mhm.
Yeah. So there is hope.
I mean, there's always so. What I have to say is that even though I'm a lucky person, what I have to say is that what you need to understand is that staying in US should not be your goal if you're trying to apply for a job. Because what I have to say is that one of my friend from STEMS is that he looked for a job where he can get sponsorship.
Mm,
And then, getting a green card takes a really long time. So he has to stay there for a long time, really, really long time, even though he wants to grow. It was just a company where they just said, I can sponsor you, just come here.
mm,
Not about growth. It was not related to his focus, but he took that opportunity because he wanted to have that sponsorship.
yeah.
But at the end, he regrets that, but still he has to be with the company because he wants to get the green card, right?
Yeah.
And what I have to say is that he is a really talented designer. Brad, Bang.
I do. Yeah, yeah.
I talk
I
about
think I know
Brad.
exactly who you're talking
Yeah.
about.
So basically, I have to say, as a friend of his, it was very unfortunate to see him. He's still there. He's still working there. Even it's been like seven, I don't know how many years, 7, 8 years. He's still there. He's trying
Yeah,
to get,
7 years.
a lot of those things can happen with the visa.
Yeah.
Pandemic can happen. You know, Trump can come in and can block all this opportunity to get a green card. the numbers can go down, depending on those politics, like anything that like outbreak, anything can happen. And as a designer, if you have a passion in your career, your focus should be if you can grow as a designer or not. Not it shouldn't be it shouldn't be about the visa. I mean, everyone has different standards, but if you want to be happy or want to success in your career, I think you really need to focus on what you want to be first, then talking about visa, because staying in US is not gonna make you successful. Of course, opportunity here is might be better, but look might great. But if you go back to if you go into the industry, it might be different. You might face some culture difference. You might think that this industry is not good fit, or you might want to say, even this job or like a title as a designer is not something I want to be, right? So like I said before, experience is something you should go for and search and trying to understand who you are first before looking for like a visa opportunity, because like there are a lot of paths or journey you can take. And also there's a lot of different ways to come back to US if you happen to go back to your home country. I have to say,
Yeah.
I don't know how many interns students you have here, but for me, I applied for a master's. I mean, it wasn't for me to leave. It wasn't really for me to live the home my Korea, but it was more for me to grow. And then the opportunity came to me. That's why I took that opportunity, and then that's why I was able to come back to US. But you might think that that is not fair to say from my side because I get the spouse visa, but still I have to say, trying to understand who you are, trying to look for where you can grow if you're applying for your first job.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about it shouldn't be about money, because money will come if you do well in that area. But still, you need to grow first, and there has to be anyone who wants to really value what you have done, your journey have done in the past. And I think that really, yeah.
That's amazing advice. Thank you. Thank you for that. So students on the call with us, I'm dropping a link into the chat for a quick survey that you will please complete after we're done with tonight's session. But I do want to open things up in case anybody does have questions. Feel free at this point to just drop them into the chat. And while we're waiting for anybody to do that, I want to pick up on the advice that you were giving a minute ago, that, when you're looking at priorities for especially your first job out of college, this emphasis on look for an opportunity that will help you grow. I don't think I've ever heard anybody put it quite that way before. I think that it's just sort of unspoken most of the time, that like, well, of course you have lots to learn,
Right.
in your first job. But I don't necessarily think that we're very conscious of how that first job will help you grow.
Right.
And it may, in fact, show you that maybe this isn't something you want to do. It could confirm for you that this is exactly what you want to do. And in some ways, I think of your internship at IBM, because that was the summer after you graduated, as kind of being your first job.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you don't mind sharing a bit more with us. How did you get that internship? How did that come about?
So, just like everyone, like out of college, I was looking for my first job, and I didn't limit myself if I should get like a full-time contract or even like an internship. And like I said, my focus was really tech stuff in more of a UX area. And I was looking for those areas. I mean, you can search those in LinkedIn or somewhere else. I think I used just LinkedIn. But what I what I remember is about IBM internship is because I think there was like an event happened within Stamps that IBM came and it talked about the internship opportunity. And then I thought about that. Okay, should I apply that? And they were offering 4 different roles at the time. So engineering, uh, UX research, UX design, visual designer at the time. And then I was whether if I should apply for research or design job or the role, designer role. But I took the I think I just thought that I want to be a researcher more because that's where I want to grow first and want to understand first. I mean, I did nothing about UX at the time, to be honest with you. And the reason why I was able to get the job, I have to say, is because I did my own research, what that means to be a researcher, and then what kind of experience I had. So basically, I have to be able to show my senior project, my portfolio, and that was the key. I have to say, it was a key project that they Devin, he was my manager at the time, and he looked at it, and then he really liked the project because I did my own research. I thought about it really in depth, and I was able to talk through and then storytell what was going on back behind that project. So he was looking at the process, why I was interested in UX research area, and then why IBM really is the good fit for me. And I was able to explain a lot of stuff. If I didn't have that mindset and if I didn't understand what the meant at the time, I don't think I was able to get the job. As a senior product designer, as a design lead, I mean, I've done multiple interviews and to hire my junior designer and then designers. And then what I found is that it is very easy to know who has a great passion, who had done research on our company. And I was able to really filter out them really fast. I think it must be pretty much the same for him as well. So what I have to say is that, like I said, I try to grow. I try to focus on what I want to be and want to do. And that's why I think I was able to get the job at the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for that. We do have a question. First of all, thank you for
Mhm.
sharing your story with us. It is really inspiring. Second, what kind of classes did you take to be a UX designer? And is it related to graphic design or not?
Graphic design or not. So I have to say UX design is about understanding users and then how you want to express through visuals. So graphic design is related, I have to say for sure, because you have to create some design components, visuals that make sense for users. And if you don't understand graphics that well, it's highly likely it'll be difficult for me to how to express it in a screen. And yeah, I think I highly encourage that to take graphic design because you learn about a lot of colors and visual hierarchy, all those stuff, and really matters for UX designer. And classes, I think I took intro to product design, uh, design bootcamp. It might be different because it changed all the time, right? So basically what I tried to do is I looked at professors and then the classes at time. I tried to see what background each of them are coming from and what they're excel at. And if they can teach me on like design aspect. So that's why I think I went to Jan and I don't think he's there anymore, right? And Bruce Thurp, uh, um, Sean. What was his not last name? Sean. He
Oh,
passed away,
yeah,
right? He
yeah.
passed away, right? So he was a really good professor, I have to say. Or was he professor? No, he wasn't. I think
No, he
instructor.
was a professor.
It was
Yeah,
professor. Okay, okay.
yeah,
It was a long ago. So,
yeah.
but yeah, Sean was there. So yeah, try. I look for professors and what. And Katie Rubin, I think. Yeah, Katie. Yeah, Katie. I think I took Katie's class because she also talked about a lot of design aspect, like how to make those products and stuff in more a physical way. But it really helped me too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I love this question, and I love Sanghyun's approach of not so much what is the class, but who is the instructor and what is their background. And for anybody who is unsure, always feel free to be in touch with me and ask me questions about who teaches what and what their background is, and I can point you in the right direction. Because as Sanghyun rightly points out, people come and go
Right.
who are instructing, but I know who most of them are for sure.
Yeah.
And so Ellie, you know, one of the things we talked about earlier, do you recommend double majoring in UX design and stamps?
What does that exactly mean? UX design and stamps. UX design in.
So this would be at SI and at stamps.
So I think the approach is really different. SI, it really focuses on data and information. So so what I have to say is that it's not really user focused UX design. They're really more focused on data because, you know, it's school of information. They have to really focus on what that data means, how you can use the data within the UX design industry. So the approach is a lot different, whereas STEMS is coming a lot different from like graphic or visuals kind of stuff. So I have to say that there are pros and cons, even though SI offers UX design, it's not necessarily user-centric approach they take. It's more about data focused. Yeah, I think degree they're focusing on. That's what I understand. That's why I didn't go for UX design degree within SI, but went to more of data science track. Yeah.
So aiming for UX UI specific internships, or are there other internships you would recommend?
I think it really depends on what you want to be, like I said before. So, I mean, there's a UI focused opportunities, whereas there's also UX focused opportunity. Also, they can be product design focused opportunities. So I think it really matters like which industry it is in, the company is it in, and then how they function within that industry. So even though you're looking for an internship within the company, the UX design role can be really small, or where if there is a user-centric company, they really value that UX design a lot. So it's not just about the title to be like a UX intern or UX design intern, UX research intern, whatever. It's about, you have to do some research to understand the company as well. What's their focus? Do they really focus on user a lot? If not, then it's higher likely it's gonna be more of a supporting role than driving force. So, and you're gonna have less opportunity to grow and less voice to speak up in that opportunity, I have to say. So there are multiple stuff you need to think about. Yeah, but yeah, in short term, that's
I would also add in visual communication design to that mix, because user interface is very much more how are we interacting, either with the screen or with a
right.
But still the visuals are very important, whether that's visualizing data or realizing that you need to understand motion graphics or understand even video production in the visual communication space. So I would add that into the mix as well. Let me see. So that means that UX design relates to the database study more than design itself? This is a great question. Yeah, so user experience is very much dependent upon data, because you're analyzing information from the users and then using it to implement the design of something.
Right. Essentially, UX research. Essentially, UX research is you're gathering UX data or like user data, right? And then it's how you interpret it and how you get those data as well. So I have to say, when I say data, when I talk about data, it's more about information. It's more techie stuff, and UX research data is also different. It's more malleable. It's how you interpret it. So there, there can be two different types of data. One thing it can be empirical data where you can get straight from people where you have to interpret and you can automatically get from the system by doing the actions within the applications. So I have to say data is not really simple thing. It's not and it is highly related to the UX design is highly related to data because we have to use data all the time to understand users' needs. But how you utilize it, how you understand is something you kind of learn differently. If you're talking about UX research, it's different than if you're looking as a data analyst, I have to say. So a lot different, but still, yeah, base is data. Yeah, but you definitely have to learn how to design because you have to your job is to express that within the screens and then make your users happy based on what you have gathered basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not simple.
Kate is asking a really key question because visual design portfolios are really quite different than UI UX portfolios because you have so much more text and
Yeah.
so much more process.
Mhm.
And so she's asking how detailed in your own portfolio you made these pieces. Did you list out all of the research that went into each UX project? And then how many of those pieces did you have?
uh so you're reading Kate Shan's
Yeah,
question, right? So
yeah.
so I honestly I didn't have that many portfolio pieces, but I tried to do it well. And if you're making a UX any UX project portfolio, portfolio, then what you have to understand is that UX is focused on users, which means that the process of doing the UX project is to understand, gather those user data, how to interpret that, how to translate into screen. So basically, the key point of UX project is to storytell. How are you going to storytell? How you get the result based on data you have collected. So what kind of answers? What was the challenge you're trying to solve? And how did you ask the questions? Who did you ask? Why did you ask this question? So it's like constantly asking why, and then how did you end up getting those product that you made? So when if you're doing like any interviews to based on your projects, basically what they're looking for is that the reason behind you made that design decisions. Is they're gonna ask that kind of stuff all the time because that's the key for UX. And it's matter of fact it's a matter of fact what kind of area you're focused on, what users you're focused on, what kind of questions you ask, as well as what kind of tools you use as well. So it's not really simple thing, but one thing you have to keep in mind, like I said, is how you storytell about your UX project. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. And really think about how you wanna talk about the journey you took to make that product, the UX product you made. So I mean, I think I only had 2 or 3 when I applied for internship. And then Devin or my manager only looked at one piece of project and that only mattered. So it really depends on what they're looking for. And even though I mean, I have to say, even though you don't get the job, still, if you're talking to like one of the managers there, they you gave them interest. You have a potential. I mean, there are a lot of different things they consider is that if you're a good fit for the company, not that necessarily you're a good designer. So yeah, just trying to tell your story, to tell your journey within the project. And even though it doesn't, you might not get the job, you might not get the job, it's not that you're wrong. It's just you might not be good fit for the job. I have to say. So yeah, a
Yeah,
lot too much stuff. Yeah, other stuff I have to say. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway. Mm.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
And oh, thank you, for this is a great question. There is a difference between UX and UI,
Mhm.
and which one relates to graphic design more. So, Sanghyun, I'm going to let you speak. What
This is
differentiates
tough.
UI and UX?
Okay, this is tough because there are a lot of gray areas, and you cannot say UX without UI, but you can say just UI without UX, I have to say, because UX is more of a broad term that incorporates a lot of different concepts like UI and graphic design, interaction design, visual design, all those kind of stuff. Because UX is more, like I said, is more about solving the user problem, and this is how you're solving the problem within the UX industry. Is that, and the UI is like a tool how you express those, how you solve that problem, and UI can work alone because not specifically it is focusing on the user needs, whereas UX is more focused on user needs and how they would be interacting with those screens that whatever I design for the user. So yes, UX is a more broader term that has UI design within that area, whereas you can not really overlap with UI within. So UX within UX there's UI, I have to say, and then graphics, visuals, interaction, all this kind of stuff, motion, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And one of the things that I often say right now is all forms of design come together in that space.
Mhm.
So whether you're using artificial intelligence to
Mhm.
address, um, curing cancer or treating cancer,
Mhm.
or you're designing a new ironing board,
Mhm.
or you're launching an advertising campaign and you want to measure how
Mhm.
are people interacting with it and how effective is it in
Mhm.
terms of the populations we're reaching,
Mhm.
that all comes together in the UI UX space.
Mhm.
And
Right.
all of
Mhm.
it, and this is such a great question, Gideon, so thank you
Mhm.
for raising it.
Yeah.
But all of it involves design thinking.
Right. Right.
Design thinking
Mhm.
starts with there are no wrong answers. And I'm going to go full circle, talk about that full circle moment, Sanghyun,
Mhm.
of Bruce Tharp saying to Sanghyun, you have to ideate as much as possible. Just ideate, ideate, ideate. And so that you realize there are no quote unquote right answers.
Mhm.
There are
Right.
only answers that better fit the
Right. Right.
situation.
Exactly.
And that's
Mhm.
how designers think. And that's how I know Sanghyun thinks. But it's
Mhm.
a great question.
That's correct. Yeah. And one thing you have to understand that UX will be most likely will be collaborating with others more than UI, because UX you will be working with closely with the UX researcher if there is one, like a role, and higher likely will be talking with the development team a lot. Whereas UI you can work uh, alone, but still need to talk with the UX designer. But it's more of a yeah, you need to focus. You collaboration is more key for UX, I have to say, than UI. Yeah.
I hate to stop because this is, oh, is it possible to major? No, there's no real majoring in UI UX. There are courses that you can take that will expose you more to
Mhm.
these concepts and to these ideas. But remember, the School of Art and Design has no majors. So you would be taking courses that incorporate
Mhm.
UI UX, the same way that Stamps incorporates lots of ideas into various courses.
Mhm.
Sadly, we have to stop. We're over time. Um, and always feel free, get on my schedule. Sanghyun, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mhm.
Uh, your journey is very, very different and amazing and wonderful, and I love having you.
Mhm.
Um, just one more plug, please click on the survey so that we can get your feedback. And everybody, thank you so much for being here. I am going to press this